What up, everybody? Welcome to your weekly tarot for the week of September 13th through the 19th of 2021. Truly appreciate you. If you haven't checked out the weekly, it has your sun and rising sign horoscopes on it. So if you're curious, they're time stamped. It's on there. Check out the weekly too. Super cool. Super cool. Hope you're doing well. Hope sending you my best for this week. See what the cards have to say. Let's do it. Let's jump in. The Illumination is the Five of Wands in reverse. We're getting out of some sense of conflict this week. Hopefully you can see that. We're getting out of conflict situations. That's the Illumination. There's something showing up that's, either been nagging us or we've been nagging ourselves about it. And this is where maybe we bring some sense of order to it. Through having to probably deal with it and look at these things. We are in Virgo season, so it's like getting down to business for whatever it is that's kind of taking away our creative spark. And I think that's good. So I like getting this card here for the sun because we're dissolving, we're transmuting some sense of doubt and conflict in our lives. For the moon, we get the Four of Pentacles in reverse. Looks like we're emotionally having to let go. Like we've been holding on to some kind of baggage this week. It's time to ditch that feeling that we need something else or just something, because whatever we're transmuting or whatever we've already had take place within our own osmosis process in our lives, the getting out of the conflict is through realizing that you can rebuild something, that maybe you have to just let go of what you thought you needed to feel secure so that you can find what really is going to give you that security within your own personal life and within your own emotions. Our identification card is the Nine of Swords in reverse. That feels like we're also, not only are we getting out of conflict here for the major theme of the week, but we're also, identifying with our, subconscious and maybe our anxieties in life. We're moving past that. So we're moving in a direction of like finding some sense of purity, I think, and getting out of whatever it is that's been a nightmare. This is where maybe we make those changes. And it's probably by releasing something we've been holding some emotional attachment for. So maybe we have to do some of the inner work and realize, like, what do we really need to feel secure? Maybe it's just our own self-love. Maybe it's just our own ability to transmute energy right now. And instead of keeping ourselves in some nightmare, let's move out of that nightmare and illuminate these things so that we can bring the change necessary. Mercury got the Wheel of Fortune upright. So our mind here is definitely like, we're coming into abundance in some way, shape, or form, but it takes a risk. And I think we're understanding what that risk is and what is going to make the most sense of how to maybe initiate it or bring it into our life, like right here, right now. So I feel like there's quick gifts coming in, but they involve that mental risk. Like you got to be like, okay, I'm doing this. Like I'm going to make this call. Like I'm not going to just wait things out here with Mercury and Libra. I know that there's abundance out there, but if I don't risk it, am I going to get that full understanding? So maybe it's about realizing that there are still gifts out there and there's still a bunch of abundance out there to be had, even if we do have to let go of something that we thought maybe was the greatest abundance in our life. Venus got the Seven of Cups upright. So interesting with our relationships. They're so important. I feel like this could be a lot of people coming into our lives right now. It is a Mercury shadow period. Of course, that can bring in relationship stuff. It tends to bring up exes. So maybe we're dealing with that. But maybe, who's coming back in or who's coming in that's new. And, we might have to use that reflection, and that might be what narrows things down and helps us make a choice. Are we going to stay in, especially with Venus here in Scorpio, are we going to stay in toxic systems or toxic, relationships that aren't giving us that emotional abundance that we're looking for? I think this is where we see it and we realize that there's been the reflection is a great gift, and it's our angels and our guides coming through to show us what is the most beautiful and what is the most valuable, and that, it's just our emotions holding on to something that maybe we thought was the greatest value that actually wasn't giving us what we wanted. So I like that. Jupiter, we get the Ten of Swords in reverse. So the abundance here is really about the change It's about a new cycle starting. And I think that goes well with the Mercury card of the Wheel of Fortune. We have to be, willing to say enough is enough. And there's no more room to be, sticking things in us, swords or not, or whatever. Um, we're getting out of a lot of that. So this is where the abundance is in the whole new cycle, and realizing how far you've come. And, I think having a strong mental clarity that the wheel is ever spinning right now. And just because you got down in a low place or maybe had some negative thoughts, this is where a lot of that can change really quick. But we have to be willing to narrow things down to what brings us the most happiness, and to not just get lost in the stuff that we have been holding on to that doesn't bring us that happiness that we've been looking for. Saturn got the star card in reverse. Hmm. I feel like Saturn here, square Venus this week, it's an interesting card to get because I think there's really beautiful new journeys ahead, but we can hold ourselves back because we're not willing to be open to what it could be, or to trust that God is going to take us. So I feel like we have to open up to our vulnerabilities, and that's going to be where we're going to restrict ourselves, is if we're not being vulnerable and honest with ourselves, and being willing to go just naked into whatever it is that's going to bring us the gift. And I don't think we know yet, but I think our mind's spinning that wheel this week to figure that out, and what is going to bring in the ultimate connections and abundance, and what's going to get us out of some sense of feeling like a lack of creativity, or that you know something's been stopping us, or giving just roadblocks or karma in our life. I think that we can really turn the tables here and go into this next chapter in a very powerful way, but we have to realize that power within us, and we really have to trust our divine calling. And I think that that's very important. I think karmically, this is where, some of the greatest gifts to the people that have been putting the work in show up. This is almost like that second chapter of life, but you have to be willing to go into it. This is kind of like the spiritual mission getting activated, but it's also reversed. So it's like it's going to be a struggle to go into that space, or a struggle to trust in that calling, or in that unknown, and release something that we've been so emotionally attached to in this physical world that no longer is bringing abundance. But I do think we see a bunch of options in regards to that, and narrowing it down and making a choice that we're spiritually guided to will be very important. Overall is the 5 of coins upright. I mean, I feel like there could be a level of poverty that we're feeling in this physical world. Um, we have to shift our values around. We have to know our worth. If we're just going to get down and out on what maybe shows up in the physical world, we're, maybe going to miss a really powerful calling. I think we have to be very spiritually aware of whatever changes are coming through, because they're actually getting us out of a lot of problems and a lot of crisis situations. But I think if we hold on, we're going to feel a deep sense of lack, and feeling like we're not guided when we are extremely guided right now. Let me grab the dice behind me. And the Black Moon. I want to see what this Black Moon deck has to say. What does the astrology cards have to say for us this week? Aquarius. I know. That's the beautiful part, is I think that we're really going to get an I know vision come through this week. And I channeled that in the weekly astrology, and I feel like this card is very, good confirmation for that. We're seeing into really what the future looks like, and how to innovate in that, and how to connect and come together as people and humanity. And even the star card is Aquarius. So we really want to follow, that knowing and that calling, because that's going to show us the best connections in life with the best people, with even just to our soul and our mission. And it's going to get us out of all the poverty, and it's going to show us that if we're vulnerable enough to let go of something, that we're going to get everything we're ever going to need, and come to a lot of win-win conclusions in our life. We got Neptune, Cancer, 11th house. Man, I feel like this is where we really have to connect to our own vulnerabilities and our own sensitivities regarding people in society and just society at large. And it's going to be sensitive, and maybe we're going to feel like we're not secure in society. Maybe we're going to feel like, or we're going to be told that everything's going to be okay. So we got to get over our own delusions about how we feel about what's going on in the world and really step into what the world, and not the world, but what the universe and what God is trying to show you. Because it's in that sensitive place and in that psychic space that you're going to innovate extremely new ways forward. I feel like the end of this just came out extremely innovative. Of like, you see the vision, you know what's best for this experiment of life that you're living. But if you're going to numb out and not really move in a direction that you feel is the ultimate connection and is your ultimate truth, you know, that's going to be hard. So it's a sensitive week dealing with people, and the way we get through that is to feel into these things and to realize that every time we feel into that, instead of holding on to some sense of distrust or dislike, but we transmute that energy into something in our personal life and have that understanding that we can keep things moving, that we're going to get out of a lot of conflict situations. But we have to be spiritually attuned within our own sense of ourself and our own security, and how to bring that out into the public and into our groups and our tribes. I like it. I like it. I like it a lot. I love you all very much. Thank you so much for tuning in. I hope that you found value from this reading, and I appreciate you so much for being here, and I will see you next time. Peace.